Forget diplomacy. It appears in Greenland even dogs are unhappy with Donald Trump's takeover plan. Island's top dog sled federation disinvites U.S. envoy from race, sending a clear message, not on our watch. Washington may be pushing for influence, but on this icy stage, the Huskies and local tradition still rule. U.S. President Donald Trump's envoy has been disinvited from the Greenland dog sled race. Greenland's Dog Sled Federation said that the new U.S. Special Envoy to the Arctic island had been disinvited to its annual race, as Washington repeatedly threatens to take over the autonomous Danish territory. Jeff Landry had been invited to attend the race by a private Greenlandic tour operator, an invite the KNQK Federation has previously called totally inappropriate. A year ago, U.S. Vice President JD Vance's wife, Usha Vance, had planned to attend the dog sled race during an uninvited visit to Greenland. Her plans were canceled amid strong opposition in Denmark and replaced by a visit with her husband, JD Vance, and a delegation to the U.S. Pituffik military base in the northwest of the island. Earlier, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said Trump's threat to slap tariffs on allies over Greenland is completely wrong, adding that a trade war is in no one's interest. The British leader also admitted that Greenland's security is becoming increasingly important as strategic competition in the Arctic intensifies, meaning the region needs stronger collective defense.
On Greenland, the right way to approach an issue of this seriousness is through calm discussion between allies. And let's be clear, the security of Greenland matters. And it will matter more as climate change reshapes the Arctic, as sea routes open and strategic competition intensifies. The High North will require greater attention, greater investment, and stronger collective defence. The United States will be central to that effort, and the UK stands ready to contribute fully alongside our allies through NATO. But there is a principle here that cannot be set aside, because it goes to the heart of how stable and trusted international cooperation works. And so any decision about the future status of Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. That right is fundamental, and we support it. Denmark is a close ally of the United Kingdom and of the United States, a proud NATO member that has stood shoulder to shoulder with us, including at real human cost in recent decades. Alliances endure because they're built on respect and partnership, not pressure. That is why I said the use of tariffs against allies is completely wrong. It is not the right way to resolve differences within an alliance. Nor is it helpful to frame efforts to strengthen Greenland's security as a justification for economic pressure. Such measures hurt British workers, British businesses, and the British economy. And that is why I've been so clear on this issue. A trade war is in no one's interest, and my job is always to act in the UK's national interest.
President Donald Trump escalates pressure on Europe, not with troops, but tariffs. Trump announced a new wave of import tariffs targeting Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, and Great Britain. An additional 10% takes effect February 1st. That jumps to 25% by June and won't stop, Trump says, until the U.S. is allowed to buy Greenland. Trump has been unwavering, insisting ownership of Greenland is non-negotiable. But Denmark and Greenland's leaders remain just as firm, as they say the island is not for sale and does not want to be American. Kremlin spokesperson said Trump will go down in history if he takes control of Greenland.
Well, generally speaking, in recent days, a significant amount of rather disturbing information has been received. Naturally, we are monitoring everything that is currently unfolding with the utmost attention, and we are thoroughly analyzing these developments. Regarding our specific plans concerning both Denmark and Greenland, I must state that I will leave that particular matter without any further comment.
In a newspaper interview published Sunday, Sanchez said any American military action against Greenland, which is an autonomous Danish territory, would damage NATO and legitimize Russia's invasion of Ukraine. If the United States were to use force, Sanchez warned, while adding it would be the death knell for NATO, and Vladimir Putin would be the happiest man in the world. Earlier, Kremlin spokesperson acknowledged Greenland's legal status as part of Denmark. Putin's aide Dmitry Peskov described the recent situation of the island as very controversial. Peskov also said the situation around Greenland as unusual or even extraordinary from the perspective of international law. The comments come as President Donald Trump escalates pressure on Europe, not with troops, but tariffs. Trump announced a new wave of import tariffs targeting Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, and Great Britain. An additional 10% takes effect February 1st. That jumps to 25% by June and won't stop, Trump says, until the U.S. is allowed to buy Greenland. Trump has been unwavering, insisting ownership of Greenland is non-negotiable. But Denmark and Greenland's leaders remain just as firm, as they say the island is not for sale and does not want to be American. Earlier, Norway's foreign minister said Trump's plan to impose tariffs on 8 European countries is unacceptable. On the other hand, the Danish foreign minister hoped European countries targeted by Trump tariffs will stand together.
I mean, we have been asking since the very beginning of this to have a constructive dialogue with our American ally and friends, free from social media and headlines and strong words. And we opened that dialogue last week. We will not give up on that. I mean, I have an agreement with the American Vice President. It was reconfirmed after we have listened to the press spokesperson. So we will stay on track unless US decide differently. But then at the same time, of course, we need the European Union to respond. I will not develop that response at this press conference. There is close consultation going on among our European friends. I foresee that there will be, also a meeting among foreign ministers, and we will also continue close consultations with those European countries who are not members of the European Union but still integrated in the single market, and even more importantly, a member of NATO, because this is not only about the European Union, it's basically about, the NATO alliance.
The very essence of NATO is to protect the sovereign integrity and territorial integrity of its member states. So that's what it's all about. And that is, again, rooted in the collective right of self-defense in the UN Charter, which is deeply committed. And I want to reiterate what also Lars has said, that we have 2 messages that we share with all the countries we mentioned in this, not only the 8, but with all, I would say, all the European countries and Canada, is that on the one hand, we stand with the Kingdom of Denmark in defense of its sovereignty. But we're also ready to do more together with America and with all our allies in the Arctic. And that's exactly why we are stepping up our presence in Greenland, because if there are security concerns, we can meet them jointly, both bilaterally, Denmark and the US, but also as a NATO alliance. And Norway has for decades been arguing that NATO should take a stronger role generally in the Arctic. We would, of course, say that there are other parts of the Arctic where there is more immediate need, but in principle, throughout the Arctic and out of the 8 countries who happen to be in the Arctic, 7 are NATO members, so we're actually quite well prepared to deal with existing and future security challenges in the Arctic. So that's a dual message that we're sending to our friends in the United States of America.
Norway's position remains the same. We will not allow ourselves to be put under pressure, and those types of threats of U.S. tariffs are unacceptable between close allies. Yes, the American president is unconventional, to put it diplomatically, but America is also something other and more than the American president. I trust the world. There are also checks and balances in American society, and not essentially gives me a belief that when we stand together and when we are able to explain what is at stake, and it is not only Europe for which things are at stake, there are major things at stake for the United States as well, then we will also get through this. I mean, that is something one has to believe in and something to work for.
Tensions rise across the Atlantic. European leaders warned the stakes go far beyond territory. They could redefine NATO itself and reshape the global balance of power.